Welcome to a special edition of The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, President Rodrigo Duterte defends the country's top lawyer.
Why should I fire him? This is good. This is also from Davao.
Despite controversies hounding the Solicitor General's family-owned security firm.
Bakit wala na ba tayong katuwiran magdegosyo? Nila is na, as long as you do not participate.
The Justice Department vows to review the government contracts involved.
Ang concern ng DOJ principally is whether yung mga procurement laws, rules, and regulations have been followed. Kasi public bidding yan eh.
But the Solgen camp insists there's no conflict of interest.
I will defend myself at the proper forum, not here.
Also, former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno appeals her ouster.
Obviously, it's not about me anymore. I'm happy to share this fight with so many others.
After the Supreme Court votes to remove her through co-warranto, the man of the hour, Solicitor General Jose Calida, breaks his silence live. And later, turn your vacation into a cinematic experience and be a movie star. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. President Rodrigo Duterte comes to the defense of Solicitor General Jose Calida. The country's top lawyer is in hot water due to government deals involving his family-owned security firm. The Solgen repeatedly insists that he did not violate any laws, and Malacañang stands by him. Also, after winning the case at the Supreme Court versus former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, is he ready to answer Sereno's appeal? Let's go straight to the source of the story. Solicitor General Jose Calida. Solgen, good morning.
Good morning, Pinky. Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you for your time, sir. I know that media has been wanting to get an interview with you at the Senate even. Nakita ho kayo doon ng ilang members of the media.
Yes. But I prefer your program.
Thank you, sir. All right. Here's the thing, sir. To me, I think there could be two possible challenges or two fora that you could be facing with the discovery of Vigilant Investigative and Security Agency. Graft charges, or sorry, a graft complaint has been filed against you before the Office of the Ombudsman, that's first, and of course the Court of Public Opinion.
Okay.
Okay, let's state the facts for the record. Records show that Vigilant, or the Vigilant Investigative and Security Agency Incorporation, was incorporated in October 2001, sir. Is this true?
That's correct.
In the general information sheet, there are 60,000 shares, common shares, at, I believe, 100 pesos each, worth 6 million
Well,
in
if
2001.
my memory doesn't fail me, I think you're right.
And that you own 60%. Your wife and kids each own 10%.
Yes, it's a family corporation.
Sir, please tell us, I just rather hear from you, what happened the days before or right after you were appointed Solicitor General by President Rodrigo Duterte. What did you do, sir?
The first thing that I did was to resign from the Vigilant because I was slated to be appointed as Solicitor General. And I did. In fact, I wrote a letter to the company, and the Vigilant also submitted the documents to the Securities and Exchange Commission. So everything was above board. It was a legal resignation in compliance with the law. RA 6713, that is the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards. Under this law, the public official is given two choices. One, to resign within 30 days from the assumption of office. And the other option, the law uses the term and/or, signifying that there is a choice. You need not resign and divest. The option of divestment arises only when there is a conflict of interest. Not a speculative conflict of interest, but actual conflict of interest. Since there is none, the law says that I can choose to resign only,
And
which
that
I
you
did.
As we showed on screen, this is the letter of the resignation. So you put
Correct.
your wife as president and chairman, your son, Attorney Joseph Calida, as vice president, corporate secretary, and you have a daughter, Michelle Calida, who became treasurer. You were out, and you have another son,
Yes.
Attorney Mark, is it, sir?
Yes, Attorney
okay.
Mark Jorel Calida.
He also did not hold a position here in Vigilance. So when...
Actually, may I just say that I did not assign them there. There was a board meeting, and they were elected as directors and officers of Vigilant.
Okay. So here's your defense, sir, when the conflict of interest arises is because of the Code of Conduct of Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees, RA 6713, Section 9, on divestment. So
Okay.
you were saying that the operative word was or,
Yes,
and you chose one.
I chose one, the resignation, because there is no conflict of interest. You know, the term conflict of interest is a legal term, actually. The definition of what is this, let's say in Section 7A of the RA 6713, if the transaction requires the approval of my office,
Right.
that is a conflict of interest. The Office of the Solicitor General does not approve contracts of security agencies, especially Vigilant. And Section 7B, Paragraph 1, it says, there is conflict of interest if the private enterprise or business is regulated, supervised, or licensed by the government office, like OSG. I do not regulate security agencies. I do not supervise security agencies. I do not give licenses to security agencies to operate. Ergo, there's no conflict of interest here. If I were the chief PNP, for example, and I have a security agency or a financial interest, that is clear conflict of interest.
Okay.
Because the PNP regulates, supervises, and issues licenses to operate.
And you're saying, obviously, that the OSG has nothing to do
Yes.
with any security agency, whether it's your company or another company. Another
That's
point
right.
being raised, sir, is the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, Section 3H. Here's the thing, sir. Directly or indirectly having financing or pecuniary interest in any business, contract, or transaction in connection with which he intervenes, yun po, or takes part in his official capacity or in which he is prohibited by the Constitution or by any law from having any interest, sir.
Well, as the law says, intervene. I did not intervene. And I have no material interest for the transaction that I should intervene. You know, Pinky, my job as a Solicitor General is a very hectic job. You know, there are thousands of cases that we handle at the Office of the Solicitor General. Most of them go through me, especially the appellate cases, Court of Appeals and Supreme Court. And if you recall, I have handled big cases since I assumed my position. The first case that I handled was to defend the government policy of allowing the burial of Marcos at the libingan ng mga bayani. There were around 5 separate groups who filed a petition. And I had to prepare for that. And that was my first win in the Supreme Court. And then after that, the case of Senator Leila de Lima. There were again about 4 groups of petitioners who filed. But thank God I won again. That was my second victory. And then there is this declaration of martial law in Marawi. I also handled that, and I won that. And then there was another petition filed by the former Solicitor General Hilbay as counsel for certain groups, questioning that there was no joint session of Congress.
Right.
Again, I won that case by the Supreme Court decided 15-0. Then there was again this 1-year extension of the martial law. Again, I won that case. And recently, the quo warranto case of Attorney Sereno.
Understandably, Solgen, you are busy with all the cases that you've had to defend government with. You are
Yes.
the lawyer of the Republic. You are not the lawyer of the President. You are the lawyer of the Republic.
Of the Republic. And since the President is the head of the Republic, naturally, I would defend his policies.
Let's go to the contracts that Vigilant bagged from the time you were appointed Solgen to today, sir. We have documents, our media reports also will tell us that there are about 10 contracts worth 150 million pesos. So, you know, you have NEA, you have NAPSI, you have NEDA, you have NPDC, you have DOJ, and you have PAGCOR. And very recently, Rappler discovered 4 more, sir, 2 contracts with the House of Representatives and 2 more contracts with PAGCOR. Are these true, sir?
Well, yes, except I think with respect to NEDA, our contract already expired. So it's not an ongoing contract. But let me explain, Pinky, why Vigilant enters into this public bidding. When Vigilant was formed in 2001, its clients were private businesses. Unfortunately, only few private businesses can actually can have a budget that will satisfy the minimum wage of guards. And because of that, we would not go into a contract where the guards are not paid their legal minimum wage. So the Vigilant considered to join public bidding. Why? Because government agencies, government instrumentalities, they have an approved budget for the contract. And therefore, there is an assurance that the security guards will be given what is due to them. And what are these amount due to the guards? It's the salaries. If they work beyond 8 hours, the overtime pay, the night shift differential, overtime pay, and they should be given also other benefits required by
pay,
law,
probably. Okay.
which private companies cannot have no financial capability to pay.
So, and you're saying that, to make it short, mas maganda sa gobyerno kasi mas mabibigyan ng tamang sweldo yung mga
Tamang
security
sweldo
guard.
yung mga
Okay.
gwardiya. Kasi, you know, one of our vision is to provide employment opportunities to those who don't have any means of living. So that is also part of our mission to help those who don't have employment. And thank God, Vigilant grew through the years.
So we're looking at about 14, 1 expired, 13 contracts. At 14 contracts, sir, this totaled about 261.39 million pesos. That's a huge amount for some people. I want to know where this money goes to, how much income, if possible, you derive from this. And one more question before we go on. Well, you'll answer after the break, sir, is if you bagged 14 contracts in the 2 years that you have become Solgen, did you have the same amount of contracts prior to you becoming Solicitor General? We'll continue our discussion after the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, some lawmakers are calling for his resignation due to alleged conflict of interest, but President Rodrigo Duterte sees no reason to fire him. Solicitor General Jose Calida will still be with us. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Solicitor General Jose Calida. Excuse me. Sir, let's go back to the contracts because this is really the meat of discussion. So 14 contracts since you became Solgen. So let's be honest, sir. The thinking is, baka inapprove yan kasi Solgen na si Calida at binigay na lang, you know, in-award na lang yung kontrato. Sir, let's let's rewind a little bit. So 2 years, 14 contracts. Prior to you becoming Solgen, how many contracts did you bag and how much? Let's just say, give me an average in the past 2 years.
I forgot already how many. But let me tell you, Pinky, we don't always win when we join government procurement biddings. No? In fact, since I assumed my office, we lost 3 biddings. One is the Philippine Sports Commission, the Pagcor Malate, and another bidding for the Philippine Sports Commission. And that's the reality. You don't win always.
But the question, sir, is do you have more contracts now than you did prior to becoming Solgen? Did you win more now than before, sir?
No. We had many biddings before that we won also. Because, as I said, it is our advocacy when I was still with the Vigilant to get the best deal for our security guards. That's why we joined public biddings. And I think there is some sort of an innuendo there that the amount being stated that we allegedly bagged, quote unquote, is not really accurate.
This is not accurate,
Because, that is the budget, the approved budget for the contract. That is not our profit. In this contract, when the procuring entity awards to a bidder, to a winning bidder, this is how it goes.
Okay.
First, amount due to the guards. This is the biggest item in the budget. Because as I told you earlier, it covers the salaries, etc. The second one is amount due to the government. And this represents the SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, retirement,
I see.
etc.
Their benefits, yeah.
And benefits. And then there is the administrative cost or expense.
Of course.
Because when you win a bid, you have to provide certain materials like guns,
Uniforms. Diba? Lahat.
No, the expensive ones are the guns,
see.
the radios, the vehicles, and other security gadgets needed.
So, sir,
So what is left?
what is left? If we
is
look at
the-
261 million, let's just put it at that, sir, in the past 2 years at 14 contracts, how much does, magkano hong inyong inuuwi dun sa 260? Because you're saying that this seems huge, but there's so much expenses involved as a business would normally
Right.
have. So what's a percentage or how much do you think 260 will take you guys home? Because you still own 60%.
Well, it depends on the amount that you have bidded. Because under the Government Procurement Act, the winning bidder or the award given to a winning bidder, the agency fee is where you how do you call this? Because it is a the winner is one who gives a bid that is the lowest calculated and responsive bid. So pabagsakan din yan. So we cannot say in this particular contract we will get X amount.
I understand that, sir.
So
I understand
if
that.
you want to win, you have to lower your bid.
But how much would you say of a percentage, that's why I'm not asking in absolute numbers, is your return, is your income? No matter if it's a 6 million, 10 million, 50 million, more or less, do you take home 10% of that, net, or 15%, 20%? I have no idea, sir.
Well, it's around those figures, actually, but they're not consistent.
What is, could you
would
give me a
depend,
range,
if
sir?
there are many bidders, naturally, the tendency is, you have to submit the lowest and calculated
So
responsive
average
bid.
15%, sir, you think?
I cannot say whether it's 15 or what, but it's the lowest category in that, you know.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Solgen. Would you, again, let me go back to that because this influence issue and your power wielding over possible contracts is a question in many people's minds. Just to compare again, sir, yung mga kontratang nakuha nyo ngayon compared to before, pareho lang ho ba? Mas madami ho ba ngayon o mas madami dati? Have you made a comparison, sir? Because you know you will be asked this.
Comparison of what?
Bago po kayo maging Solgen at pagkatapos ho kayong maging Solgen, pareho ho ba yung number ng contracts na that you won?
It depends on, you know, there are cases where in this particular year, there are many biddings. Okay. As far as I was informed, for this year, I think there was one bidding that we won. 2018, and 2017 maybe two. I don't really know the exact figures because I'm no longer part of the vigilant management.
But I'm sure you asked them, sir, how many contracts do you have right now outstanding?
I don't know the exact number.
Would 14 or 15 be quite accurate, sir?
Because remember, aside from the public bidding, we also have a few private companies.
That you won as well, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to that, sir. A question is still raised on the position you have as Solicitor General. Some say it gives your family undue some sort of advantage over the rest of the bidders because vigilant. You may not be the president and chairman, but you still own 60%. So vigilant is still Jose Calida, is it not?
No, because, you know, this is a government procurement. There are laws. There is a law and there are procedures. For example, there's the BAC, composed of senior officers of the procurement entity. And sometimes the bidding is done by the field JEPs or the field JEPs is under the Department of Finance, okay? Not necessarily the procuring entity. So there are many safeguards there. Under the government procurement law, it's pass or fail. If you pass the correct document, you're okay. If you
have
do
one
not
foot
pass or you do not comply with the requirements of the bidding, then you are disqualified.
But would you agree?
So there is no discretion here.
So would you agree that your position, would you agree or not agree, sir? Your position gives you some sort of advantage.
I do not agree because there are rules that we follow.
Okay. There are, of course, because of this, sir, conflict of interest has been talked about a number of times. There are senators also calling for you to step down. Senator Kiko Pangilinan was even saying that if Secretary Juan de Teo resigned, you should resign 3 times more because of the amount compared to Secretary Teo. Secretary Risa Ontiveros also saying that you should resign. I'm wondering if we have the statements of both Senator Kiko Pangilinan and Senator Risa Ontiveros. All right, we'll play that a little later. Sir, before we go on a break, they are comparing this case with the case of Secretary Juan de Teo who resigned.
The comparison is erroneous. In the case of Teo, she was the head of the Department of Tourism. Where did the money come from? From the Department of Tourism, and she's the head of that department. Where was the money invested or given? It was given to the company of her brother, who is a black timer in PTV4. That is not the case in Vigilant.
You have the president actually.
The Office of the Solicitor General does not give money to whatever.
So to you, it's
Yes.
not apples to apples.
Yes, it's not.
I just want to
And
bring...
besides, the innuendo that the 200 or 150 million went to the coffers of the Vigilant, that is
Which you explained already, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Hindi po yon napupunta sa Vigilant because you have a lot of operating expenses.
I was wondering why the good Senator Kiko Pangilinan is asking for my resignation. Did I commit graft? The issue should be, did I commit graft? No, I did not.
All right, we'll listen to the statements of Senator Kiko and Senator Risa Ontiveros after the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, what happens now after the Justice Department ends government protection on alleged pork barrel scam mastermind Janet Lim Napoles, and still the issue on conflict of interest with Solicitor General, or alleged conflict of interest with Solicitor General Jose Calida after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Solicitor General Jose Calida. Sir, we'll play, we'll put on screen the reaction of the two senators. Let's start with Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Again, as I mentioned a while ago, he said yung kay Secretary Juan de Teo was 3 times because that's 60 million compared to about 150, 200 million. All right, we'll start with Senator Risa Ontiveros' statement. Let's put that up on the screen, please. It's a challenge, sir, to President Duterte to prove his anti-corruption rhetoric. And she's challenging not just to fire you, but also to file the necessary charges against you. After all, if he can order the Solgen to file a case against the Supreme Court Chief Justice, he can do the same to the former. Otherwise, his anti-corruption stance is pure hogwash.
Well, let me also use the term hogwash. What she's saying is hogwash also.
Do you feel, sir, that somehow the question on this anti-corruption drive of the president is tainted or affected because of this issue with Solicitor General Jose Calida?
No, because I did not commit graft and corruption. I understand where she's coming from. You know, they're angry with me because I won the quo warranto case and ousted their poster Chief Justice. Had I lost the case, they would not have attacked me like this. Now, I understand also where Senator Pangilinan comes from. He's the president of the Liberal Party. And the one who viciously accused me in the ombudsman admitted she has no proof and admitted also that she's rooting for Attorney Sereno.
She's a supporter.
So this is a political attack not only on me but on the on the president also.
I know you said that, sir, in your statement sent to the media that this is some sort of revenge because of the quo warranto. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, sir, it's true. Let's just say it's true. Isn't it still something you need to answer? Because it's a question in a lot of people's minds. Why is the Solgen involved in a security firm, his family involved in a security firm, bagging contracts with government? Did you think, sir, I guess this is my question, did you think that lalabas ho talaga ito at some point?
Well, you know, I do not judge other people's intentions. So I assume that, you know, when they attack, they should attack with evidence. But there's none. So this is just rumor mongering, actually. And, you know, even that person who attacked me was campaigning for the defeated Liberal Party candidates. So this is really a vicious attack because I represent the government, and the government always wins its cases that I've handled in the Supreme Court.
But it's still a point that they needed you to answer, and that's exactly
That's why I'm
what
here.
you're doing right now,
That's why
sir.
I'm here, Pinky.
Okay, so, sir, I want to go back to, well, Senator Kiko, tapos na po yun, but here, sir, because I asked you, does this affect somehow the anti-corruption drive of the president? Only a whiff of corruption, sir. When was the last time you spoke to the president, and what did he say to you? And did you, yun na muna, sir.
I can't recall the date, but I think sometimes when I join the cabinet meetings.
Did you have a chance to speak to the president regarding this issue of your security agency, sir?
No, actually, I didn't, because this does not concern actually the president.
So you never talked about it. So you never even possibly, sir, offered to say, sir, Mr. President, what would you like me to do? This might affect you. Was there any sort of conversation?
My conscience is clear, and there's no reason why I should bother the President about this problem.
The President, though, spoke very recently defending you on this. Actually, yung sinabi po ng Presidente, parang wala na hubang karapatan ng tao magnegosyo. Let's listen to the President's statement.
Itong si Calida, matagal naman yung security guard niya. Noon pa yan, why should I fire him? He's good. He's also from Davao. But Ilocano yan. Karamihan yung mga Ilocano. He's good. Bakit? Wala na ba tayong katuwiran magdegosyo? Nila is na, as long as you do not participate.
Did it even, did you even think, sir, maybe I should consider resigning?
No, why should I?
Not even a part of you thought that maybe I should because of the
attacks against me?
because of the allegations against you.
Well, Pinky, I've been a lawyer since 1974. I can handle all attacks.
Okay.
The question is, can they handle my counterattack?
Sir, we talked about the legal part of this, Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, ethical standards for public officials and employees. So you are saying, obviously, everything is above board and this is legal.
Yes.
Here's the next question, sir. Is it moral?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I've not done anything wrong, and therefore, there's no issue of morality here.
The word delicadeza is also coming out, sir. Sana naman kung solgen ka, meron ka namang konting delicadeza at hindi mo na pinasok yung inyong security firm sa mga kontrata ng gobyerno. Please answer that, sir.
Well, as I told you, one of our advocacy is to provide jobs for those who don't have, and also to give the benefits to our security guards. If we close shop, many guards will lose their jobs. We cannot afford that. Nakakakonsensya na yun.
Solgen, did you ever think of just divesting as well?
Well, as I said, there is no need to divest if there is no conflict of interest.
So you will not even think of divesting after this controversy, sir?
No, because under the law, I have the choice either to resign or to divest. And there's also decided cases like in Rabe versus Flores, where a court stenographer did not disclose that she had a business, a market stall. What did the Supreme Court say? Well, the courts do not regulate the operation of markets, and therefore, on that score, there is no crime there. There is no conflict of interest. However, the fault of the defendant, the accused, was that he did not disclose that he had a market stall. Me, I disclose in my SALN that I have financial interest in Vigilant.
Yeah. And sir, whatever it is you earned in 2016, 2017, this forms part of your SALN. Pasok po ito sa SALN ninyo.
There is a provision in the SALN asking you whether you have financial interest in other companies. I said yes, and I mentioned Vigilant.
Do you put the amount there, sir?
No, there is no amount that is required to be placed there. You just divulge where your financial interests lie.
Sir, I know I asked you that you have no plans of divesting, but did you even think for a second that, this security agency of yours could potentially give you problems?
Now, if there will be an actual conflict of interest, then I will divest.
And you still see absolutely
within 60 days from that from that day.
Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about there is no it's not a question of delicadeza for you, sir. Here is one, I guess, argument I'm thinking, sir. For example, I don't know if this is correct, but you are the government's top lawyer. So, sir, let's say, for example, Vigilant has a contract with the DOJ, which is okay. Alam ko na po yun, you're autonomous, you're independent, budgetary concerns lang po yung attachment ng DOJ sa inyo. If the DOJ decides to sue Vigilant, I don't know, sir, and it goes to the Court of Appeals, your office is supposed to defend the Department of Justice. How can your office defend the Department of Justice if you own Vigilant?
If there is that actual conflict, then I will divest.
But that potentially could happen, right, sir?
But, you know, it's not the potential or it must be an actual conflict of interest. So we cannot anticipate what lies in the future.
But-
so under the law and under jurisprudence, you're required to divest if there is an actual conflict of interest.
So even if we're talking about it now,
If there is
sir.
none, there's no reason why you should divest.
Yeah, but even if we're talking about now and we're speculating that a potential problem could arise with DOJ and Vigilant, you already know that. I know it hasn't happened, sir, but it could happen. But where do you stand?
If that happens, then I will divest.
I see. All right, again, we'll be taking a short break. This is a source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Solicitor General Jose Calida. Sir, Secretary Guevara, the newly, he passed the Commission on Appointments yesterday, said that he will look into the two contracts of Vigilant with the DOJ. Let's listen to what Secretary Guevara said in yesterday's confirmation hearing.
Ang concern ng DOJ principally is whether yung mga procurement laws, rules, and regulations have been followed. Kasi public bidding yan eh. Everyone is entitled to bid. For now, the presumption is regular on its face. Regular, not necessarily valid kasi hindi naman namin tinitingnan yung question of validity. As to the contract itself, wala namang sinasabi na invalid. Ha? Bakit invalid? Meron bang batas na nilabag? Procurement law? Nobody has come up with such an allegation.
Your reaction to that, sir?
Yeah, I agree with what Secretary Guevara said. There is a procurement law that must be followed, and therefore, if he has all the right to check the contract, we have nothing to hide there.
And your family would be willing to open the books or give additional...
He said he will look
into the
contract.
contracts, yeah.
Yes.
So,
There's no problem with that.
yeah, but the family, your family, it will be cooperative. I guess that's my question, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and you're open to this. So let me move on to another subject, sir. The complaint, as I started this program, the complaint was filed by Jocelyn Acosta before the Office of the Ombudsman, sir. It's well, one is this conflict of interest, and others are the co-warranto, and also this. Accusation on the extramarital affair of Solicitor General Jose Calida, sir.
That's a big fat lie. I need not, you know. This woman admits that she has no evidence. He who alleges must prove it. And what she's saying is actually a concoction, a vicious, malicious concoction.
She said that your wife confronted your alleged mistress.
No, that is not true. That is not true.
1.8 million pesos, she says, in funds were transferred
that is not true.
to
I
this
don't know where
woman.
she got that amount. In other words, they are now fabricating charges against me. They want to destroy my family, and I will not forgive them for that. There will be a day of reckoning.
What are you going to do, sir? What can you do?
What can I do?
It's almost like a threat to her.
I am a lawyer, and therefore I know what to do. I'm just waiting that the charges will be given to me so I can answer them point by point.
I guess I'm assuming, sir, you will file charges against Jocelyn Acosta.
Against those who are maligning me, slandering me, libeling me. Yes, I will.
And you're just looking at getting more information, sir,
Yes.
studying it, and then
Right.
filing the appropriate charges. All right, sir, let me move on to another important issue, sir. Well, I want to end this vigilant issue, sir. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I'm sorry, sir. I wanted to add this one. I spoke to a couple of lawyers, I'll be honest with you, to understand this better, sir. And some were saying that your contract may have been above board. But there is this is one thing that was told to me. It's the code of conduct. It enshrines the policy of promoting high standards of ethics for officials, which includes number 1, integrity, number 2, modest lives, and number 3, upholding public interest over private interest. Here's where I question that, sir. It's a question of upholding the public interest over your private interest. Could you possibly be guilty of that, that possibly you're upholding your family's interest over the public's interest?
You know, Pinky, when I accepted the job as Solicitor General, I know that it will be a hard job for me. That's why I invested my time, even put my life to risk for the public's interest. There are many threats against me also. I'm not just, broadcasting them. But I'm putting my life on the line for the government. Now, if they want to kill me, okay. I cannot stop them from... So when you say public interest, I put my life at stake for public interest. That's my answer.
Sir, to end this issue on vigilant, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, as I said, the security agency that was founded in 2001, one of our missions and advocacy is really to provide livelihood for those who don't have. And we were able to help many guards. You know, it gives us satisfaction when the guard who is, poor at the start, later on through the years would have the money to build a house, send their kids to school, and improve their lives. That to me is my reward, actually.
But it's also, sir, it sounds noble, but it's also a reward for your family because you need a business to survive as well. Your family needs to
okay.
survive as well, hindi ho ba?
Yes, of course, but it's not that much because of the many expenses that we incur. Sometimes the clients do not pay on time, so we have to advance. And because of the amount, we have to borrow money in case the delay is already 2 or 3 months. Because we cannot afford our guards to suffer. We would rather suffer financially rather than the guards.
Sir, yung mayaman ho ba kayo dahil sa vigilant?
Remember, Pinky, vigilant is just one of our... I was a practicing lawyer. So it's not only our bread and butter, actually. I was a practicing lawyer since 1974. So we live a comfortable life.
All right. We'll be taking a short break. We'll talk about the quo warranto ruling when we come back. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Solicitor General Jose Calida. Sir, quo warranto petition. The camp of former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno filed a 205-page MR.
Yes.
And just to kind of basically give a little bit of us, to condense that, it's really the due process was not served. She was not given due process. 8 of the justices who voted to oust her, 6 of them she wanted inhibited in the case, sir. How would the Solgen react to this?
Well, Pinky, the case is still live. In other words, sub judice. I'm not like Attorney Sereno, who would go from campus to other campuses to ventilate her arguments. I will not, at this time, the Supreme Court will consider her motion for reconsideration. We have argued all our arguments in our pleadings, and I'll leave it at that.
But that was a close call, sir, huh?
Well, because this is a novel case. This is the first time that the Solicitor General of the Philippines filed a quo warranto to oust a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So, naturally, there will be pros and cons. But of course, majority rules. And they have to respect the Supreme Court for that.
some are calling you the most powerful person in the country after the president because of this, well, win of the quo warranto petition. We were able to interview the former Chief Justice. Let's listen to a portion of what she said during her interview here on CNN Philippines.
She has been turned into the most powerful person now, next to the president. Even more powerful than the Senate combined. All 24 senators cannot do what Solgen Calida can do now. Lahat ng judges, vulnerable na. Pag sinabi mong vulnerable, ibig sabihin, hindi sila makakapagdesisyon nang hindi iniisip yung panganib na nakaabang sa kanilang karera. Magdidesisyon sila ng napakalakas, anong mangyayari? I-impeach rin ba sila? I'm sorry, iko-co-warranto rin pala sila? Oo,
So is that a threat against possible decisions that the justices will make?
Yes, definitely.
I guess the justices will be scared of you now, sir. The judges, lahat, sir.
Why should they be afraid of me? You know, Pinky, I'm not lusting for power. I'm just doing my job. That's the job of the Solicitor General. And that's the reason why the President appointed me. Because he knows that I will do my job.
But that still opens the door, sir, for you to file a quo warranto against anyone. Do you agree, sir?
Well, you know, I was inspired when the President said, why should he fire me? Because of that inspiration, maybe I'll consider some more quo warrantos to be filed.
Sir, there's one gusto i-file sa inyo with Associate Justice Teresita de Castro. Siya ba yun?
No,
Mukhang hindi.
No. That's one of the reasons why this Acosta hates me, because she wrote me a letter asking me to file a quo warranto case against Justice Teresita de Castro.
Yeah.
But in my letter, I told her, do you have evidence that Justice de Castro did not comply with the JBC requirements? She did not offer any evidence. In fact, Justice de Castro filed the required number of SALNs, 10.
So no problem with her.
And besides that, she was not, Justice de Castro was not appointed as, as Chief Justice. So why should we oust her for a position that she did not have?
But she's still an Associate Justice, sir.
Yeah, but the complaint is
Chosen
not,
by the President.
when she was appointed as Associate Justice, there was no such requirement by the JBC.
Oh,
it
is
was
that what
only
you're
after Chief Justice Corona was ousted when the JBC started to impose SALN.
And okay. All right, sir, I want to go back to what you said. You're considering filing quo warrantos. Was that a joke or are you serious, sir?
It was a joke, actually.
We better make sure, sir. So is there anything in the offing? Sir, maybe the 6? Are you looking into the 6 who said that the quo warranto is not valid?
No.
No.
Sometimes I'm too serious, so I will crack a joke every now and then.
So, okay, so that was a clear joke on your part. Sir, I also wanted to get your reaction on the resolution of the senators. There were about 14 of them saying really that it should have been the impeachment. It should not have been, you know, basically not the quo warranto.
The Supreme Court has spoken. Under our Constitution, the Supreme Court is the one vested with power and authority to resolve judicial and legal disputes. They should respect the Supreme Court.
But what about the judiciary respecting the right of the legislative branch of government to look into and to decide on impeachment cases, sir? What about that?
Now, the impeachment has not yet been transmitted to the Senate. So what impeachment are they, will they try?
All right. Just very quickly, sir, on the case of Janet Lim Napoles, we talked about this during your last guesting, sir. We had Attorney Stephen David saying that mukhang natanggal na po siya by Secretary Guevara in the Provisional Authority of the Witness Protection Program. Basically, sir, he was saying that she still wants to become state witness. The problem is no one is listening. Let's just listen very quickly to the statement of Attorney Stephen David.
With or without WPP, she's willing to testify, to say what she knows. Problema nga, the government's not listening. The DOJ doesn't want to listen, di ba?
Now?
Kasi kung hindi, ginamit dapat siya, di ba? Kasi nandiyan na siya inalis mo pa. Ano yun? Ayaw ka namin.
Sir, very quickly, I'm just going to throw questions. Tama ho ba yung ginawa ni Secretary Guevaran, tinanggal siya sa Provisional Authority of the WPP? Benefits and Protection Program?
Well, that is the prerogative and discretion of the Secretary of Justice because the Witness Protection Program is under the Department of Justice. However, if Janet Napoles has evidence to link other recipients of the DAP and PDAP, why don't we listen to her? Because as we all know, who were indicted were those, the enemies of the former president, like Jingo Estrada, Bong Revilla, and JPE. How about the other senators and congressmen?
So do you think that the DOJ should listen to her?
We should listen to anybody who has evidence to prove a crime.
So they should listen to her. They should consider her statement again because she had a narration, sir.
Yes.
A statement of narration.
Whether it will be Napoles or anybody else who has the goods against this, the politicians, we should listen to them.
But let's not go to anybody else, sir, because we're talking about Janet Lim Napoles, and Stephen David is saying she's involving about 100 lawmakers, 16 to 20 senators, sir. So I really want to let go of these other people. I want to talk about her, sir. Should government listen to Janet Lim Napoles?
I believe so. If she has the evidence, let her speak.
Could this just be used against the opposition lawmakers, sir?
No, let's leave politics here. Let's look at who are the culprits in this DAP and PDAP anomalies.
Do you know who?
I have some people in mind.
But does it complement the 100 lawmakers that Attorney David is saying, sir?
Well, I don't know where he got that number, but you know, we have sources also, and I know some of them are involved here.
In DAP, there are two, sir.
Yes.
DAP and pork barrel.
Correct.
What's your number?
I cannot divulge it right now.
But you're saying government should do something about
Yes,
this.
we should.
Yeah.
Because no one should be allowed to go scot-free. You know, these are millions and millions of government money.
Sir, I know that this is going to be the, of course, mandate of the DOJ, but you are the, well, the government for the Republic. If you're saying that dapat talagang tingnan ito, should there be an appeal or an order from the President for the DOJ to buksan po muli itong alleged involvement of lawmakers in DAP and pork barrel funds, sir?
Now, we will have a new ombudsman by July. Maybe the new ombudsman can look into this.
Who do you think, or who would you think would be fit to be ombudsman?
Well, Pinky, I'm not a seer. I cannot look at the future. But definitely, one who has the trust and confidence of the President will be appointed there.
And you're not part of that. You're not part of the list.
I did not apply
you didn't
for
apply.
the ombudsman.
So what about the Supreme Court? Could you possibly be part of the Supreme Court, sir?
Who?
You?
No, I'm not cut out to be a judge, Pinky. I find the job boring.
So you're happy here as Solgen?
Yes.
Is it fulfilling for you, sir?
Yes, because actually I won cases. I haven't lost a case in the Supreme Court where I personally argued.
All right, thank you. Solicitor General Jose Calida, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you for this exclusive interview.
Thank you also for having me.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.